Hello again, YouTube. My name is Bree, and in today's video, I'm working with what's essentially my first art medium, which is colored pencils. Obviously not including like Crayola products you use when you're a little kid. So my first, I guess, professional art medium would be colored pencils. Now, when I did the no-buy last year, and I think I probably spoke to this in that video, my goal was to do a declutter before I began, which I did do, and then go through the year of no-buy and then do a secondary declutter based on what I had used and how I felt about supplies after the year was up. I haven't done that part yet. I mean, I did share a few things with friends, so gave away some tubes of watercolor and some other little things here and there, but I haven't really gone through that full exercise. And when I started to do that now, one of the things I realized was I have not used these colored pencils in ages. So a couple weeks ago, I decided to try them out, and I created a little piece, and I basically remembered why I had given them up. So to go back to the beginning, my colored pencil journey began in 2004. I'd started getting into art, like sketching characters from... Hi, Juno. Sketching characters from like video games, you know, the usual stuff people do, but I was like 10 years older, so that's a little embarrassing. I'm old. 2004, I was in high school. So I don't remember if it was a birthday or Christmas present, but a friend of mine got me a set of 24 Prismacolor pencils. And immediately upon using them, I fell in love with them. So yeah, I didn't have much time to use them while I was in my senior year of high school because I was so busy with other stuff. And I'm just taking my time at this point in the video, just going through my colors and trying to pick out the ones I want. So it lets me give this story time that I've already derailed myself from. But yeah, I did use them some, immediately fell in love with them. I just love the way they worked, the way they blended. Like I said, I hadn't painted before. I'd used like Crayola colored pencils a couple times, but nothing this fancy. So it was just mind-blowing to me. And then in college, my freshman year of college, one of my high school classmates who was also at the same university as me, in the United States, we kind of use the terms college and university interchangeably. But yeah, she had a piece she had started in high school and wanted to finish. She didn't own colored pencils herself, so she asked to borrow mine. And I agreed. And weeks go by, and I'm asking for them back, and she says she'll get them back to me, and she doesn't bring them back to me. And finally, like, I don't know, 2 months later, I really wanted to use them again. I was itching for it. I had done like a couple pieces on like black construction paper, and I really wanted to do another one. And so I went to her dorm room and asked for them, and she goes, "Oh yeah, they're around here somewhere," and starts picking up broken pencils from the floor of her dorm room. And she couldn't find them all. Some were used down to nubs. I'm not sure if they broke and she just sharpened part of it and lost the other half, or if she actually used them all up. My experience, these colored pencils last a really long time. And yeah, like by the time I got my set back, I think there were like 6 pencils missing. Some of them were down to nothing. And I was devastated. And this is back in the era of Amazon was a brand new online bookstore, so you couldn't just buy things on Amazon. And I finally had a friend with a car that drove me to Michael's, and they were just so expensive there. I didn't have coupons because you couldn't just go, I don't know, I couldn't look it up on my phone at that time and get a digital coupon because I don't even think my phone had internet. So I couldn't afford new ones, and I was heartbroken, and yeah, didn't have colored pencils for years. And then I think around 2014 or so, I was thinking about getting them again. I'd started drawing again in 2013. That's a massive gap. So yeah, finally started drawing again like in late 2013. And I was thinking about getting new colored pencils. And another friend bought them for me. So at that point, she bought the 72 set. And once again, after all those years, I finally had colored pencils again. And between 2014 and 2015, I think I used them quite a bit. And then I started having pain. And at first, my thought was the pain's related to my posture. I'm kind of crunched over like a little shrimp, coloring in my lap. So I bought a desk because I didn't have a desk. And that was the logical thing. I did like one that's a drafting table setup, which is still the one I use today, but I use it flat. And it helped some, but I think what was really happening, I wasn't aware of it yet, but I have a lot of ligament issues. I'm hypermobile and didn't know it at the time. And I think the way I was gripping the pencils and working with them was causing strain in my ligaments in my hands, which was then working its way up to my elbow and shoulder. And so I finally quit colored pencils back then, and started doing watercolor in 2016, I think. So yeah, that's my art journey, my very exciting art journey right there. Yeah, so I think it was 2018, I decided to do a mermaid where instead of doing like, I don't know why I said it like that. I said really weird, mermaid. Instead of doing 31 days of mermaids, because I'm not that into mermaids, I was going to do, I think, 7. And my goal was to use each medium I had at home, because I knew I'd been neglecting a lot of art supplies. So at that time, I was going to do a piece in colored pencils, a piece on watercolor, ink, gouache, which I had not used. I've had it, but I hadn't used it. Marker and pencil, I think. So I mostly completed that. I think I restarted the marker one twice, realized I did not like markers and quit them forever. I also, like, all my really pastel pale colors were like out of ink, so it made it really, really obnoxious. But anyway, once again, I really love doing the colored pencil one, but I had the pain again. My hand hurt for days afterwards. So once again, I put them aside and decided not to use them anymore. And then here we are in 2022, and I pulled them out again a couple weeks ago. And what I realized was I love the process of coloring with colored pencils. I think to some extent it's just a mental thing, because as a kid I never had paint, so it was colored pencils and crayons, and something about just sitting with my sketchbook in my lap again, scribbling away, it was like nostalgic. There was something less stressful about it, partly because it's kind of a new medium again, because I hadn't used it in years, and partly because like it's so different from painting that there was just some comfort in, scribbling on paper. And I used a limited palette, probably pretty similar to what I'm using in this one. I don't remember if I pulled the same colors or just kind of similar colors. But yeah, once again, the hand pain set in, and I didn't finish that one. I got it to a point where like it was, I'm going to say artistically unfinished, because that's how I'm going to sell it to make it sound better. And we'll say the same thing about this one, though I kind of did it with a certain degree of intention here. And it took several days for the hand pain to go away. Like, I would pick up a pen to write something down for work, and I would just either drop the pen or really feel that pinch. And I had a lot of hand weakness for several days that followed it. And then I'm not going to talk about hand injuries, but yeah, I hurt my thumb as well. And I know that was all related from straining the ligaments. But in posting that, I got such nice feedback from that colored pencil piece that, oh my God, I just like, I was so wishy that like, I'm like, I can't not do more because people like it and I want to make people happy. And I talked to a few people and they gave some ideas, some things like, you don't have to blend things out all the way, but I can't help it. I love the way these pencils blend. So I decided to try using these ergonomic grips. I think it's just called pencil grip, like super generic name, and they're squishy and just bigger, and honestly these helped a ton. I still feel a little weakness in my right hand from using it, and I think like it's really obvious my grip is horrible. Like I'm not even holding them correctly half the time. I'm just like strangle gripping it and scribbling as hard as possible when I'm blending stuff out. So yeah, I got a lot of like growing to do if I'm going to keep doing these, but it gives me the chance of doing pencils again, and that makes me really happy because I really do enjoy this. And then maybe, you know, maybe it's not something I'm going to continue to enjoy as time goes on. Maybe it's something that as I use it pencils more, it loses that like childish joy, nostalgia factor. I don't know. We'll see. I don't want it to be like painting. I feel like I have to do my best. Here, I still feel like I have so much room to experiment. And like, I don't think I've ever even watched a video of someone else working in color pencils. That might not be completely true, but I've not like watched instructional material. I never learned how to use these properly. I've never studied how to draw in color pen. Like I spent a lot of time learning techniques and tools and ways to improve with watercolor. With gouache, I took the gouache painting class from Justin Donaldson. But pencils have always just been something I just sat down and doodled with. And something about that to me right now, it's not stressful, it's charming. I enjoy it. Like there's a certain degree of stress any time I try to create something because I want it to look good. But I feel like I could be a lot more experimental. So like eventually I make his eyes green, and then I start to add green to areas of the skin just to see what happens. And I really like having all these like random colors that I'm using a bit more aggressively, I guess, than I would in maybe watercolor. And it's just, I think it's going to be just fun and educational to me, and hopefully inform some other things I might like to try in other mediums, whether it be watercolor or gouache, or I don't know, something in the future. So we'll see how this goes. I didn't know how to record this, and I know I am sometimes blocking what I'm doing because my hand's in the way, especially when I'm blending out. I probably could put the camera at a different angle and capture things a little better. I'm not really sure. It's not something I've experimented with, obviously, so I have some learning to do if I want to film these in the future. But for the time being, it's just something I wanted to try, and I really had a good time with it. I also like having kind of a balance between the areas that are really blended out and the areas that aren't, that are more scratchy. It's different, and I think it might help me become less like everything has to be smooth and perfect like I try to do with watercolor. Watercolor, I'm really bad at making hard edges, and with pencils, until you blend it, you're going to have some degree of blocks of edges of different forms, and I think this might be something that I really needed to work on, and this might help me get to that place. But yeah, like, I think it's already visible throughout this video. Pencils have a sheen. Well, these especially, because Prismacolor is wax-based, and they get, I think, there's probably names for, like, all of this, and I just don't know it, because someone had to explain to me what burnishing was, which is exactly what I'm doing with the white pencil or a different color, or with the colorless blender, which I showed at the beginning, mine's a little tiny nub, so I decided not to use it, but I apparently used it a lot once upon a time. I should probably buy another one of those if I'm going to keep up at this. But when you start layering lots of pencil, it gets a more waxy appearance. So it's never exactly matte, but it gets those shiny spots that are very much visible when it's in direct light, like it is here with my light above me and the camera looking straight down. You're getting some of that reflection. So it is kind of something, if I'm going to do more in the future, I'll have to figure out how to film it better, because I legitimately don't know at this point in time. And yeah, I guess I could like watch other people work in color pencils, maybe actually, I don't know, learn a few things about the medium, how to use it correctly. But yeah, I don't know if that's going to make it like lose some of that joy for me and make it feel like something I have to improve more at. I don't know. I'm being really weird about this, but yeah, I'm a little weird. So that's my history with colored pencils and where I am right now. But yeah, like I said, I really did enjoy the process of doing this. It's just such a different beast from painting, and I really, really did like it. I definitely plan on doing more colored pencil pieces in the future. Maybe I'll even get some paper that's made for it because I'm using watercolor paper here. I really do like having the paper that has some sort of color to it, so I can just start to build on that. And maybe I should at least research what kind of paper you're supposed to use with color pencils. Like, is it something more textured? Is it something more flat? I really don't know. I kind of like the watercolor paper texture that appears when you're first roughing in spots before you blend it out. And I definitely leave some of that in the end. I guess if anybody here works in colored pencils and wants to tell me things, I will absolutely listen. And if I'm doing things completely wrong, I don't know if I should say I'm sorry, because I'm just having fun and destroying my hands in the process. Hopefully I'm not destroying them. Like I said, a lot better this time. The pencil grips helped a lot. And I think I bought a set of 12 of them. So as long as I'm not working with too many colors, it's easy to pop one on each one of the pencils and go to town. Clearly, I have way more pencils than I need, as you saw at the beginning. I did do that to make a point of I have way too many of these. I think it's beyond the initial 72 because I did buy a few open stock, because back in the day, I didn't know about color theory or color mixing. I've talked about that before. It's something I've really started to pay attention to in very recent years. So yeah, I think I just probably bought like every skin tone I could find, because I wanted everything to help me instead of figuring out how to blend properly. And now I'm just kind of going crazy with colors anyway, because I've used like a lot of colors in the face. I actually don't have a yellow. I have that pale yellow, but I didn't have like a proper yellow. But there's the lime green and the dark green and cerulean and that red, that really dark red. I think it's black cherry. That is like, I love that color way too much, and I will probably use that one to death. I am kind of concerned though, because I've heard things about Prismacolor in recent years. And by recent, I don't mean like in the last couple of years. I mean like, okay, maybe some of it was in the last couple of years, but I've heard they're not great anymore, that they outsource them and they're not as good as they used to be. I don't know if that's completely true or if that's just, I don't know. Maybe they've gotten better since then. Maybe they're not what they used to be. I can't say. These are super old, so the 2014 edition color pencils, and I still have some of my original 2004 ones in the mix, because I know like the black one has like a completely different label on it, so they're even older. So maybe they're not so good anymore. I don't remember what I've heard is bad about them. I think like I heard that the core, is that what you call the inside of the pencil? I almost said graphite, and that's not right. The cores like aren't always centered and they break easily, but mine don't seem to have that problem. They always feel really smooth. So I think I'm just lucky to have gotten them when I did, and hopefully if I keep using them and I do need to replace them, I can replace them with equally good pencils, or I guess I could always try a different brand, though I know some of them are oil and I don't know how they work together. Like Faber-Castell is oil. I almost bought Faber-Castell. I was saving up for polychromos because other people use polychromos, and I'm like, these must be the best color pencils ever because they use those instead of Prismacolor. I didn't know at the time Prismacolor was made in the United States, and polychromos Faber-Castell is, German, so it's more accessible probably in Europe, which is probably why that was the case. I don't know, maybe they are better. I have no idea. I don't know anything about what I'm doing. But you know what? If you can experiment and have fun and learn a few things and make something, it's a win in the long run. We'll go with that. So yeah, otherwise there are a few things I admittedly changed after I finished, because working, I'm starting to get used to working at this angle when painting, but when drawing, it somehow felt really different to me. And plus, I was having a hard time with my aim, I guess, with like these grips. I'm not used to holding something like that. So I definitely made a couple fixes after I cut the filming, just because I needed to be like directly on top of it to see what I was doing. So like one thing, I kind of made him smirky in the beginning, and that was not really my intention. So like I fixed the eyes because they weren't quite the right shape. And then I fixed the mouth and made him another sad boy because that's what I was going for in the first place. So when I finish the coloring, it'll jump to a little video clip of Juno, and then the final piece, his mouth and eyes are slightly different, and that's why. I just did those things off camera. I considered turning the camera back on, but then I realized I couldn't see, so I just stopped filming and took the time to be way too close and way too shrimpy for my body. So I really don't have much else to say. This was really just something I've been wanting to try again and something I wanted to share. I hope you like seeing something a little different. If you have tips for me, let me know. If you absolutely hate this and never want to see this again, don't tell me. I can't deal with that. But yeah, I'll get back to painting more soon. I just been so busy with plein air pro lately. It's currently the 25th of April, and I have not done today's, so I have 24 little plein air pieces under my belt. If you're interested, you could find those on Instagram. I do link to it in the description. But I definitely needed a bit of a break from painting, because while I am enjoying that, like really enjoying it, it's been a lot to set up, clean up, actually take that time to paint every day, and I needed a break. I didn't want to not film something, so I just went for something completely different. I might take a break next month just for like one video, skip a video. I don't know. It's been a lot lately. I'm tired. I might need some downtime in general. I actually did take at least one day off of work, so that'll be good. Just a day to like mini stay-at-home vacation. I'm going to play video games like all day. I don't know. Something I haven't done in a while. I'm just going to treat myself. Maybe I'll like get some really unhealthy junk food that I love and just have a really lazy day, and it'll be beautiful. So yeah, that's it for this video. I really don't have much else to say. Like I said, I kind of left it intentionally unfinished. I kind of like the look of the really unfinished colored pencil. I don't know why. Something else I might want to try is doing like watercolor, like some initial washes, and then drawing over that with pencil. That might make for some interesting things, but I don't know, maybe it'll stress me out because color blending. Who knows? But yeah, in any case, I am going to go ahead and do my plein air because oh no, it's almost 8 o'clock. It's getting dark out. I might have to do something inside. But yeah, enjoy some happy Juno time. Take care of yourselves. And I hope to talk to you again in a future video. Bye now.